I believe that starting from a place where you can help one person become more conscious, that is going to influence the next decision in the next meeting room and the next decision again. And then because all of those people are linked to the rest of the world, basically, we can have a bit of this waterfall effect that trickle downs from one person to already 1,000 people. And then we improved the life and the consciousness of 1,000 people, and so on and so on. So that's, going down to every one of us. So that is the mission for me that is really deep down. But it also comes from me being very unfulfilled in my previous life as a consultant. I had built this company for 6 years. I had a lot of clients. I was about to say good clients, but what is good? Yes, I was paid really, really well, but in terms of impact, that was terrible. And you said something that is very resonating, is that the word, to me at the moment, is you said if you are unsatisfied for 5 consecutive days, there is something going off. And for me, I was pissed every day for months at the lack of impact we would be having for the customers. And I was wondering, why are we doing all of this? It makes no sense. Yes, great, you're paying me a lot of money to do absolutely nothing, sit on my ass in meetings when no decisions are made, when no one actually wants to change the status quo. Why are we even here? And the big moment that decided all of that change and really broke me in terms of why I was doing this job was when this client of mine, after 9 months doing nothing, so I didn't even get paid because we paused the project. He contacts me and he's like, "Okay, Matt, let's restart the project. Well, what are we gonna do?" And this person, for context, had in the same year COVID, burnout, and a heart attack. In the same years, in 9 months, we're in September or October in that year. And I'm like, well, yeah, let's restart the project, but what are you going to change? And he's like, what do you mean? Like, what am I going to change personally? It's business, like, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
And my heart sunk at that moment. I felt defeated. And I told him, like right away, almost word for word, I said, listen, you're going to die and I won't be part of this. Either you're changing something and we can continue to work together, or you're not, and I'm out. And that's when I said no to that consulting world. And I have to say, from this day, it would not resonate with me, because I would find that all the time, everywhere in the corporate world. People being completely burned out, making those terrible decisions because they're exhausted. They didn't take the time to think it through. They were overwhelmed. There's so many decisions to make, and you don't even worry that this decision is impacting 1,000 people, your employees that you just sacked, because you made that decision priorly that led to this point where you cannot pay them anymore because you wanted short-term profit and blah, 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 right? Like, there's so many reasons. And I said, I need to be working with those leaders because it starts from the top. You cannot change consciousness. You cannot change the corporate world by trying to help an employee. They don't have a big incentive as performing better in the company. I'm sorry, that's not my problem. I was given those cards. I'm just doing the job that my manager is giving me. And I didn't have the amazing managers or leaders that you talked about before, right? That were so inspiring. So yeah, I knew I had to go deep into the heart of it. And then I knew I had to get a big dream. And that big dream is, let's raise consciousness for leaders, because that's the root cause of everything. And by just changing that, we can change the world in 10, 20, 30 years in the most tangible way.
You know, if you write a book, you should say thank you to this guy.
Yeah,
Kind
absolutely.
of, because it really opened your eyes as well.
Yeah.
Of
and it brought me to 6 months or 9 months of being completely misaligned and being like going to sales calls, and I was dead inside. and I didn't even want to get the job. It's kind of like I'm doing this sales pitch, but I don't believe in it. You have the patterns of the same guy, and I just see through, and actually you don't care. We're just here for the wrong reasons. Don't pay me. I don't want to be working for you, with you, whatever. So it was a tough part, yeah.
I really like what you said about the decision making. I think it's also a belief that we have that when we are very busy, when we overwork, it's very cool. I'm super busy. I'm making ton of millions, but your decision making is really, really impacted when you don't have the mental space on the side, when you don't feel aligned, when you don't feel recharged, even. And I think that's a very good point that you mentioned about that.
Yeah. And it can be so easy to just come prepared to that big meeting that you're having, to come with the right energy, to be given the space. Because as leaders, you're the ones who are dictating the rules and the speed and the pace of your organization, mostly, unless you surround yourself with the wrong shareholders. And I'm sorry, that's something you've done to yourself at some point when you needed money, and now you regret those choices. But those choices are just crucial for yourself and anyone else. And a small thing, a small seed, a conversation you had with someone else before. At the coffee shop, the person made you laugh, and that just transformed your energy in that day. Boom, the decision is different. The impact in the world is different. And just like that, you've raised consciousness for one person, and you impacted 1,000 people in 1 hour.
And you feel better.
Yeah. And it's so simple. And it's so simple.
But I think that also comes to the decision making that you said about the leaders, and the more conscious they are, how still so many leaders don't see their decision making power as their key asset. It's like if you're an athlete, that performance, everything that comes to that one performance, you're optimizing, whether it's physiological, psychological, whatever technique, they do everything to optimize it because that's their performance.
Yeah.
For leaders, the decisions are your performance. And how much are leaders really hand on heart putting effort into optimizing and maximizing their decisions, whether it's through energy, more consciousness, awareness, physical health even, and the impact of like the quality of those decisions that this leader who doesn't pay attention makes versus that extremely optimized conscious leader does. You cannot even compare that.
Sure.
And what impact that has on the people working in the company's mission, the world we're living in, the solutions that we're providing. And this is where I feel like we're all on the mission of like, how can we make something for these leaders to click and to switch so that we can have this positive domino effect on everything else.
I have to rebound on this analogy about the sports part, because you literally have athletes that dedicate 4 years to their craft for sometimes 10 seconds of a performance. 4 years all the time, and then rinse and repeat. The craft is I have that performance to do. As leaders, the biggest thing you have to do is make those right decisions. And they come so unprepared. And they try to do all of those 50 disciplines, like going to the Olympics and trying to participate in all of them with all of the different skills. You're doing basketball and you're doing rowing at the same time, and you're doing the 100 meters as well. You cannot be in your own mind all the time doing all of this. So recognizing that as a leader, you've been put there or hired in order to make the right decisions. And it's not the number of decisions that make you the good leader. It's making the right decisions, as few as possible. I think that was it Steve Jobs that was saying that he makes 2 decisions per day, and he tries to limit that. And when he's made those decisions, he just goes home. I'm not sure if that was Steve Jobs, but I love that idea of I'm here to make decisions. I come to the office prepared, I make them, I go home. That's the end of my day. I don't have to put all of that fluff
To
around.
execute as well. To be stuck in this execution phase where I do all of the things, If you are in that position, it means that you have teams with you that actually are here to do your job. Maybe you control too much, maybe you micromanage, but again, poor decision because of poor self-management, self-leadership. And by the way, every athlete, they have a mindset coach. I don't know if it's a mindset coach, but it is a coach that helps them to not only visualize, but to get prepared. They rest, they recover, their all environment to sleep is cold, etc. So they understand that recovery, recharging, mindset, all of that is for them to have success and to succeed, in their performance.
And it's not just one coach. They have entire teams. They have the gym guy.
Exactly.
They have the mindset guy. They have all of those people that are here to really optimize every part of your performance. And understanding that I'm a basketball player, former basketball player, thanks to my terrible knee and terrible back. But when you see the guys in the NBA, they are like, there's maybe 20 people in the team around you that has nothing to do with how you shoot, how you dribble, how you pass the ball. They're here to just make sure you will have the ability to make the right pass or make the right decision at the right moment. So why are we not doing that in business?
Ego.
Exactly.
Ego?
I thought you would say ego as well. That's why I was sure.
That was something beautiful.
Yeah, that was
Connection.
yeah.
Let's finish each other's cookies.
Yeah.
No?
Not yet.
No? Okay.
Go ahead, Linda.
Ego?
Yeah, I think ego, misconception about coaching as well. But also sometimes it is, I think Linda touched on that a bit earlier, saying that sometimes you just push yourself so much that you do think that this is the only way. And you do think that, there's no other way. And if I go into that other duality, which is recharging more, etc., I will not achieve as much. So I think there's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of misunderstanding and belief. Linda, tell me if you agree with that. But I do think that this is the reason why people tend to not ask for help. People tend to not even want to trust that there is another way of doing things. So, that's why also a lot of people say, there's a lot of people who are making money online and it doesn't work. It's just because you don't know how to do it, but it is still a fact. There are brilliant leaders as Steve Jobs. I mean, we cannot say anything about his impact in the world. He was only doing 2 decisions a day. And you're doing maybe 20 tasks plus 20 tasks plus 20 decisions, plus you're not sleeping, plus you don't know where you're going, but you have high standards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I wanted to bring this back to the standards, because it's like, I think the difference between a business leader, an average business leader, and an athlete is that the athlete knows crystal clear that they are their most important asset. The leader doesn't know or believe the same thing. And this is really the differentiating factor of like the athlete knows by science, by their experience, that they need to be the best version of themselves in every area, because even that 0.001% of their small fear creeping in will have an impact on their jump or their throw, whatever they're in sports with. Where the leader does not have the same self-awareness often. And I'm so passionate about this because this is exactly what we are trying to change, of like, how could these leaders see themselves more as a key asset and actually want to maximize their own potential holistically as you as a human. Because if every leader would do the same work as these amazing athletes does, I think the world would be a totally different place.
Completely.
So much. And maybe one reason you talked about ego, for sure, but I also think the conscious choice. The athlete most likely has gone through a very different path to explore their skill sets, to know their unique edge. Whereas leaders, if you're driven by these external standards, you kind of often find yourself in a position because you're striving for something more external. It's not coming from the building the clarity and awareness of yourself. And obviously, I think athletes anyone struggles with this, but I think that is like, if I would need to say the differentiating factors, is the self-awareness and the value you put on yourself holistically.
And you see, you said something as well. I think for an athlete, they don't have the choice. They have to know themselves. They have to know, where they perform well and where is going to work well for them, what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah, you cannot hide.
You can't hide, because your only goal, as you said, is to perform. So you need that journey is mandatory in their path. When it comes to leadership, it's not a necessity. I mean, there's a ton of people who are having a title, but they don't know who they are. They don't know what they're doing here. They just know how to, kind of see the big picture. They're good at strategic making decision, but that's it. They're not using their own potential. They're only using the potential of their brain, maybe to, be logical, to solve problem quite easily with logic, but they are not using themselves in the process, which I think makes a big difference.
It's so funny because so I spent 6 years as a consultant. I've worked with about 15 companies. So that's a lot of leaders, sometimes with one client, a room full of leaders, and I would be a lot of time observing. And I realized that if the company is usually not performing, it's because the leader is its own bottleneck. And it's not really the employees behind there, but it's just all of this ego, all of this lack of awareness. We talked about all of this, but you are the bottleneck of the success of your own organization. And I see a lot of those leaders wanting to do, as you said, all of those parts. Well, actually, why did you hire those employees? What was the point behind that? Wasn't it to do something that you are not capable or don't have the time, or should be done for cheaper because you have higher things to think about now, right? But you still actually want to keep that control in, ending up in blocking everyone from actually doing the job that they were supposed to do. And everyone is stuck because now you're also putting the blame on those teams, saying, hey, I said the OKRs for Q3 would be we do X amount of money and we didn't. So I will blame that on the sales team that had completely like different directions, and then you keep on changing the direction and you don't give the right communication and you don't empower them to do the things they were supposed to do. So at the end, you've created that cycle, that loop where that's not my fault, that's the team, they're the worst, and I'm the only one who can solve that, while actually not having the awareness to say, well, maybe that's the problem is me, right? They should have listened more to Taylor Swift. It's me the problem.
But it does connect, the test that I use with my clients, the mindset factor index, it shows that the mindset of a leader becomes the same as their employee. Not to the exact same, but still the same tendency. So if someone is all over the place, don't really take time to recharge and, make bad decision and doesn't have a clear vision, it's going to be the same for the employee. So I think it's, as Linda said, it's super important to understand that you have a responsibility, not only toward yourself, but also to your team. Because your mindset is going to be the same as a team. And it is, like, I've seen it many, many times, and the test is not lying, right? It really shows how impactful you can be when you're there. It's not the same personality, it's the same mindset. So if you're lost and if you don't know what to do and if you're running everywhere, it's going to be the same. So you can hire as the best people in the world. Your mindset will define what is under as well. And I think that's, again, as Linda was saying, the most important thing to understand in your potential.
Yeah, thank you so much for those insights. Very, very deep, and I hope we can continue talking about this next time. Linda, I wanted to ask you a little bit about you. If you could tell us a bit more who you are, what you do, and why you're doing what you do.
I'd be happy to tell you. So, who I am an entrepreneur. I'm a neuro-based leadership coach, and I'm also a visionary, how I describe myself. And it really resonated with me what Lucie said about the creative part, because for me, business and art or creativity has been always something that has been in me, and that has been something I've been so passionate about. And then obviously health and psychology, so the well-being aspect has been a third pillar that has come a little bit later. So this is how I usually describe myself. I'm a creative business person who is a crazy enthusiast about health and well-being. So That's who I am. Obviously, there is so much layers, and I think, especially during the previous years, I've gone so much deeper into the spiritual side and the deeper layers of self-exploration and my connection with not only with myself, but the world, the universe, connecting with my soul and trying to get all of these multi-layers more clear for myself. So I would also say that as an individual, I'm someone who is a healed high achiever or healing high achiever on a way to bring my ultimate soul purpose to life. So that's me. What I do is that I run Beyond Sapiens. I'm the founder and co-CEO of Beyond Sapiens. And what our mission is truly is very similar to what we discussed. So it's to really help each leader to reach more of their potential. So how can you as a leader be the best ultimate version of yourself? And all of this comes down to your energy. It comes down to your physical energy, your mental energy, your spiritual energy. And this is where we start with each person. How can we elevate your energy so that you can just be more, give more, and through that you will start a journey of unfolding and really seeing what's possible for you, because I think you will need to see yourself as a complex human being to be able to take yourself to the next levels. And this is exactly our mission. Like, how can we, the easiest way for these busy leaders and executives, really help them to implement the foundations? So understanding your physiology, understanding your mind, knowing what you really truly want. So this is what it comes down to. And why we're doing this, or why I am doing this, it honestly comes from my own experience, my pain. It has been a long journey for me. I started entrepreneurship when I was 14 years old, and that really drew me into this toxic performance loop, which I'm grateful for. It has given me a lot, but at the same time, it has really pushed me for so long to this high performance, overachieving mentality. So after my burnout, I really had to rebuild myself. I had to recreate my identity, choose consciously. Who is it that I want to be? What is the best version of Linda? And honestly, that work, we've discussed it today, but that work has been painful and difficult and hard, and it has taken, like, it has broken you to pieces. But it's also so fruitful, because then the end version is never done. Obviously, you're constantly evolving. But you get to know yourself on depths that give you so much more connection, and you start loving also the dark side of yourself, and you can work more effectively as a team with yourself. So I think there is these layers of whether it's consciousness or awareness or how we want to speak about it. And yeah, I think my own journey of seeing what is really possible. We're so limitless beings, but we rarely get to see that limitless side because we're holding ourselves back. So I think me just getting away from my own way has been my biggest reason to help others also get out of their own way and showcase that you can be and become anyone if you believe you can, and if you actually put the work in to become that.
Wow.
We got it.
Yes.
We did. Yeah.
How do you continue from that? Yeah. All
That
right.
came from the heart.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it was beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. And to conclude on this, I'm also going to share a bit more about what I do. My name is Matthieu. I'm the founder of Conscious Leaders Dubai. I've created this community and mastermind about 6 months ago with the goal of raising consciousness for leaders. The point is we need to start living and stop the autopilot mode. We need to start understanding who we are and what we want to do. We need to start believing in ourselves and in the impact we can have. There was a me before that was only obsessed about KPIs and metrics, but was dead inside, was fully on this success path that wasn't mine. And now I know that all together we can very easily and very quickly raise consciousness for the world to be a happier place, for people to have more clarity, more joy when they come to work, when they do anything that they want to do in their life. It's not only about work, even though it's leadership as the core of what we do. And I really invite all of the people to pause and be present and be more aware of why do we do the things we want to do? How can we serve better the others? And how can we find that fulfillment? How can we pursue those dreams that we said as a kid? I want to be this, and not just be like, oh yeah, but society told me be that. And if that makes you feel dead inside, that's your switch to go back to the root of who you are, and start reaching out to us, because we are here, the three of us, with that same mission, same vision to raise the consciousness. And once you can find this alignment, when you can find this inner fire, this inner power, you get that amazing energy and that amazing flow, which gets you to move mountains. And what I love with working with you girls, it's I'm not doing that alone. We're all together, a bit of this like 1 + 1 = 10, where we can see the impact we're having on people. We can see the patterns changing. We can see the eyes of people changing from one moment to another. We can feel the epiphanies, and we can see all the transformation, and we're being transformed at the same time. We're being fulfilled. We're feeling that joy, right? And it really comes from within. So that's why I do what I do with creating that movement. Didn't create the movement Conscious Leaders, but I want to embody and I want to bring people on that journey to become more conscious leaders. And I'm happy to say this is not about me, it's about us. It's about how we can see the impact we're making. And it's just so amazing to see every day how we are just like growing and evolving and bringing more people to this. And who knows where we'll be in 10, 15 years, but I love the path and I love the journey. So thank you so much for being part of it. And thank you for this beautiful conversation.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much. It's been amazing.
Yeah,